It is the symbol of supreme achievement in professional hockey. In 1982, 21 teams vied for the coveted Cup of Lord Stanley, the oldest trophy in professional sports in North America. The 1982 Stanley Cup playoffs were the culmination of the 65th anniversary of the National Hockey League and the crowning touch on a spectacular season of hockey. That goal by Wayne Gretzky made NHL history. Wayne's 77th goal of the 81-82 season broke the record held by the legendary Phil Esposito and evoked a gracious response from the master himself.
I want to congratulate you, man, and I want to thank you for allowing me to be part of this. I mean it. Thank you all, Wayne. Congratulations.
92 goals, 120 assists, and 212 points topped a long list of single-season records set by Wayne Gretzky in 1981-82. For the third straight year, Wayne won the Hart Trophy, and for the first time ever in NHL history, the selection was unanimous. A fitting tribute to number 99's spectacular performance.
Trottier moves into center right. Over the line, David Tonelli shooting, he scores! John Tonelli, 47 seconds left. Islanders 3, Rockies 2.
John Tonelli's game-winning goal against Colorado on February 20th, 1982 gave the Islanders their 15th consecutive win, breaking a record held by Boston for over half a century. The team that many consider a dynasty continued to dominate the NHL.
I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad
In 1980, they took the Flyers in 6. In 81, Minnesota fell in 5.
I need a change in my life because I don't feel alive and there's nothing.
In 1982, the Islanders would be going for their third consecutive Stanley Cup, a feat that no U.S.-based team had ever achieved. This time, New York was shooting for the hat trick.
And this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams, we all want things. But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
The 65th anniversary of the NHL was a year of change. An unbalanced schedule in the regular season would see teams within a division playing each other more often. This move to intensify divisional rivalries was extended into postseason play with the introduction of a new playoff format. The top 4 teams in each division would square off in a best-of-5 divisional semifinal round. The 2 winners would then meet for the division final. Division winners would advance to conference championships, followed by the Stanley Cup final. Each round after the divisional semis would be a best-of-7 series. The Chicago Blackhawks and the St. Louis Blues met for the top spot in the Norris Division. Crashing bodies set the tone for this hard-hitting Midwest matchup. A suddenly rejuvenated Blackhawks squad had upset the division champion Minnesota North Stars in the division semifinals. The Blues' hopes rested on the high-scoring line of Bernie Federko, Joe Mullen, and Brian Sutter. But St. Louis was plagued with injuries and could not contain Norris Trophy winner Doug Wilson and the red-hot stick of Dennis Savard. Savard's 10 points led the series and sparked Chicago to a 4-2 victory. The Smythe division also featured a surprising upset winner. The Los Angeles Kings had stunned the hockey world with an unexpected win over Edmonton in the opening round. But against Vancouver, they saw their fortunes vanish.
I'm tired of shit, and the coffee
The long-dormant Canucks had suddenly exploded. They had finished the regular season with a 9-game undefeated streak, smothered the Calgary Flames 3-0 in the divisional semis, and then stumbled only once in their conquest of the King.
I'm about to quit my job, cash in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till
The Adams division produced the most thrilling series in the divisional final.
I need a big change, help me feel like living.
Quebec had upset Montreal by winning in overtime in the 5th and final game of their series. When the Nordiques faced off against the Bruins, it would be a 7-game struggle that also would not be decided until the final contest. Superb play by backup goalie John Garrett and the renewed scoring of Peter Stastny were the keys to Quebec's success. But the Bruins did not go quietly. An overtime goal by Peter McNabb in Game 6 forced a 7th-game showdown. In a hard-fought defensive duel, the pesky Nordiques prevailed 2-1 and kept their Stanley Cup hopes alive. It was the Battle of New York for top honors in the Patrick Division. The Islanders had barely avoided an upset in their 5-game opener with Pittsburgh. Now they would face their arch-rival. Home ice was meaningless in this fierce crosstown clash. A heroic effort by an injured Eddie Mio. And the scoring punch of Robbie Ftorek and Don Maloney enabled the Rangers to take 2 out of 3 at Nassau Coliseum. But in front of their own fans, the Rangers were winless. The defending champion Islanders closed out the series 4-2. Amidst increasing doubts about their ability to pull off a Stanley Cup hat trick. 2 hard-checking clubs would vie for the Campbell Conference Championship. Chicago and Vancouver had made it to the conference final by playing aggressive physical hockey, and there was no reason to believe that either squad would change its strategy now. Chicago fans were ecstatic over the surprising rebirth of the Blackhawks, but they would be frustrated by the outstanding performance of Richard Brodeur. Number 35 entered the series red hot, with a 2.28 goals against average in the playoffs. Against the Blackhawks, he would turn the thermostat even higher. Only once was Chicago able to shake his steady play. In Game 2, the Hawks broke through for 4 goals against Brodeur and prevailed by a score of 4-1. But the victory dance of Dennis Savard was to be Chicago's only cause for celebration. In the 5th and final game, the Canucks unleashed a barrage against Blackhawks goalie Murray Bannerman. With Chicago trailing 3-1 late in the first period, they called on veteran great Tony Esposito. But it was a futile gesture. The Hawks' hope of a Stanley Cup collapsed under a crushing 6-2 blitz by Vancouver. Many fans anticipated a 7-game thriller in the Wales Conference Championship. The determination shown by the Nordiques in their wins over Montreal and Boston had been impressive. If anyone could dethrone the defending champs, it just might be Quebec. But challenging the Islanders on their own ice was no small task. In the regular season, New York lost only 3 games at the Nassau Coliseum. Quebec did lose the first 2 games on the island, but as the series moved north, Quebec was still confident. Montreal and Boston had both watched early leads crumble against this never-say-die Nordique squad. But this was not the New York team that had struggled against Pittsburgh. This was not the team that had lost 2 games against the Rangers. The Islanders had settled into their playoff groove, and not even the return of veteran goalie Daniel Bouchard could stop their relentless determination as they crushed the Nordiques with a resounding 4-game sweep. playoff road to Lord Stanley's Cup had reached the last mile. The upstart Vancouver Canucks would challenge the New York Islanders for the supreme honor in professional hockey. The Islanders were confident, but they were taking nothing for granted. They knew all about the hunger of an underdog in the playoffs. They, more than anyone, understood the special magic that makes a club suddenly gel.
The first time we came into the Stanley Cup Finals, in January, we were in 17th place in the National Hockey League. We then walked into the playoffs. We beat a lot of teams who were much better than we were. We were the underdogs and not expected to win. No one's going to tell me the Vancouver Canucks do not belong there. And you can only sort of respect the way they prepared for the playoffs. They did a very good job of eliminating teams that eliminated even better hockey teams. And now they're here trying to do the same to the Islanders.
Come on, Denny, skate it out, skate it out!
The Islander faithful got a taste of playoff magic early in Game 1. Superlative goaltending, fierce checking, and tough defense had carried the Canucks into the finals. And now they hoped it would frustrate and neutralize the Isles' superior skating. But instead it drew penalties, giving an advantage to a team whose power play mark of 28.2% led the league. The Islanders had already amassed 15 power play goals in the playoffs, and in Game 1 of the finals, they would add 3 more to that total. The 2 by Dennis Potvin against the short-handed Canucks had Islander fans in ecstasy. With a 4-2 edge early in the second period, the New York fans were ready to sit back and watch their heroes unravel the Canuck defense. But it was the Islander protection that started to fray. Stan Smythe's second period goal brought Vancouver back to life. Ivan Boldarev split the Islander defense to even the score. Suddenly, the New York fans were back on their feet.
Don't let him get it! Get him out of there! Get it out of there!
But the Isles did not get it out of there. Midway through the third period, Jerry Miner fed a loose puck to a weaving Jim Nill, and the unthinkable began to take shape. Not merely content to be in the finals, the Canucks were out for victory. But with time running out, a bold move from Richard Brodeur was spoiled by a collision with Harold Snaps, and Mike Bossy jumped on the loose puck. The stage was set for the ultimate challenge of professional hockey.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe them.
And a chill through the Vancouver Canucks. They had played the Islanders dead even for almost 4 periods, but all they had to show for it was a heartbreaking defeat. Vancouver had its work cut out for it in Game 2. A split at the island was crucial. Somehow the Canucks would have to regain their confidence. The Islanders attacked Richard Brodeur hard and fast in the first period, bombarding their ex-teammate with 15 shots. Only one shot eluded number 35, And it came, ironically, when New York was in a shorthanded situation. Bob Bourne stole the puck and started down the left side. Bourne waited until the last possible moment, then slipped a perfect pass under the stick of Stan Smythe to Billy Carroll, who flipped it past an already committed Brodeur. Vancouver responded with a scoring burst in the second period. Power play goals by Thomas Gradin and Ivan Boldarev gave the Canucks a brief one-goal edge. But Mike Bossy's 14th power play goal, a snapping wrist shot on an Islander power play, evened the score. With the period winding down, Thomas Gradin stung the Isles' defense with some deceptive puck handling. First, a move around Ken Morrow. And a nice fake that forced Billy Smith to commit himself. A trailing Lars Lindgren converted the pass from behind the net, and Vancouver was back in front. If the Canucks were emotionally drained from the loss in Game 1, they were not showing it. But the momentum would shift drastically in the third period. Islander coach Al Arbour and general manager Bill Torrey have developed a winning system. A system based on confidence and discipline. In the final period, Vancouver would get its first real look at that system in high gear. A vintage New York power play. A disciplined team patiently working the puck, moving the defense back and forth, setting up the open man. Another classic power play. A slap shot from the blue line with Brian Trottier poised to put away the rebound. The final blow came from Bob Nystrom. The Canucks had dug themselves into a deep hole, and the only way out was in a place where they knew they could win. The city of Vancouver was waiting anxiously for its heroes to return after a long absence. Playoff fever was an unknown malady in Vancouver, and the residents were joyously suffering all the symptoms. With the security of home ice and the fever reaching epidemic proportions, all that was needed was 2 quick wins to even the series.
Peanut power and battle price all here tonight. Get your towels here. New York, goodbye, goodbye. No. You can't get inside the Coliseum without one.
Vancouver's secret weapon was more than just another fan gimmick. The towel symbolized the love and the admiration that the Canucks had inspired in their supporters. The swirling sea of white that erupted in the Pacific Coliseum was beyond belief. If fan support was any indication, then the Canucks were on the verge of turning the series around. Vancouver changed its strategy at the start of Game 3, with the emphasis on skating instead of hitting. In a rare display of role reversal, New York committed the costly penalties in the first period. But brilliant goaltending by Billy Smith negated the Canucks' advantage. Smith entered Game 3 with a 13-3 playoff record and a 2.76 goals against average. At one point, Vancouver enjoyed a 5-on-3 advantage. Smith had lost his stick in a collision, but an alert Ken Morrow passed his to Billy, and the besieged New York defense was able to turn back the Canucks' assault.
I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas.
Vancouver's failure to cash in on this golden opportunity was disastrous, and it came back to haunt them in the early moments of period 2. Clark Gillies' goal was the opening salvo of another all-out Islander attack on Richard Brodeur. Number 35 continued his outstanding playoff performance, but there was one goal that even he was powerless to prevent. Mike Bossy's 15th goal in the playoffs was a supreme example of individual effort. fighting for his own rebound, Bossy was able to move the puck into position. Then, with his body suspended in midair, he slipped the puck through a rapidly closing space of only inches for the most spectacular shot of the 1982 playoffs. Playing with ice water in his veins, Billy Smith continued to repel every Vancouver scoring attack. The Canucks were completely baffled. They had scored 9 times in the first 2 games, but now they couldn't buy a goal in their own arena. The home ice that was to turn the series around was crumbling, and they could only watch in silent frustration. Billy Smith's 3rd career playoff shutout was ample proof that the man they call the money goalie was still paying handsome dividends, and it moved his team to within 1 win of professional hockey's most prestigious award. There was a break in the action with the annual Stanley Cup luncheon on Friday. A light-hearted mood was set by NHL President John Ziegler. This annual event that salutes Lord Stanley's finest was highlighted by awards to 2 very deserving individuals. Some touching memories were evoked when Chico Resch was awarded the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy by Bill's wife, Carol. Unanimous praise greeted the selection of Tom Watt of Winnipeg as the winner of the Jack Adams Award for Coach of the Year. But it was the comments of the opposing coaches that exemplified the spirit of Lord Stanley.
I have an awful lot of respect for the Vancouver Canucks and for our players. You know, it's really tough getting here to the finals. And I admire all the players on both clubs because I think they're just the greatest athletes in the world.
Fan support that we have had here this year in the playoffs is probably unparalleled in NHL history. And you can be sure in the remainder of the series that we aren't going to disappoint you. Thank you.
But newsstands around Vancouver displayed the grim reality. The feisty Vancouver squad that entered Game 4 faced an uphill battle. Although they were only 1 game away from a sweep, they would not concede a thing. They would do what they had done throughout the playoffs, push their minds and bodies to the breaking point. Richard Brodeur had earned his royal nickname, but on this night, not even King Richard could withstand the relentless Islander onslaught. In even strength situations, Brodeur could hold his own. But when the Canucks headed for the penalty box, the little goaltender was once again at the mercy of the New York power play. Assistant coach Butch Goring led the first wave with an assist from Dennis Potvin. The Vancouver fans watched in grim silence. Their heroes had gone almost 4 periods without scoring, and the thought of back-to-back shutouts was unbearable. But they never lost hope, and with less than 2 minutes remaining in the first period, their patience was finally rewarded. A wave of explosive optimism flooded the Coliseum with Stan Smythe's second-effort goal off his own rebound. But the jubilant fans didn't know it would be Vancouver's last hurrah. Lurking on the edge of the crease was the man who would administer last rites to Vancouver's hopes of a playoff victory. The player they had been unable to contain throughout the series was about to drive the final nails in the Canucks' coffin. Mike Bossy's 2 second-period goals were the 7th and 8th Islander power play goals of the series, and the final goals of the 1982 Stanley Cup Championship. Another superlative performance by Billy Smith destroyed any hopes of a heroic comeback. The Islander juggernaut gaining momentum in every game had finally reached maximum velocity. The New York Islanders had become the first United States-based team ever to win 3 consecutive Stanley Cups. Billy Smith's record total of 15 playoff victories became the final touch on an outstanding season of hockey, a season that culminated with number 31 capturing the coveted Vezina Trophy. 17 goals in the playoffs won Mike Bossy the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player. Bossy's 7 goals in the finals tied the record set by the legendary Jean Beliveau in 1956. For Vancouver, it had been a bitter defeat, but it was not a time for mourning. The Canucks' emergence in the postseason had given them a sense of pride and identity that can only come from the heat of playoff contention. The Isles' 3rd cup had been especially gratifying to Captain Dennis Potvin and the other veterans. They had been with the team in the lean years. They had watched it grow from a struggling franchise into a dominant champion. And in 1982, they reached for a Stanley Cup hat trick and made it.